let's talk about what's actually happening inside a spring reverb. Because if you understand the physics, every parameter on the BX20 stops being arbitrary. A spring reverb takes your audio signal, runs it through a transducer that converts electrical signal into mechanical motion, sends that motion down one or more metal springs, and uses a pickup at the other end to convert the spring's motion back into electrical signal. That's it. That's the entire signal path. The reverb you hear is the spring physically vibrating in a chaotic, slightly unpredictable way, and the pickup is recording its dance. The length, the thickness, and the tension, the number of springs, and the interaction between multiple springs are what shape the timing, the density, and the tone of the reverb tail. A typical guitar amp spring tank has one or two short springs, and the result is sparse. You hear individual reflections, the famous boing, and an obvious mechanical character. The BX20's TTL design pushes way past that. AKG's springs were engineered for high resonant density and strong diffusion, meaning the discrete reflections smear together into something that sounds much more like a continuous wash, the way a plate or a chamber does. The result is a spring reverb that still has spring character, that bouncy, slightly chaotic motion in the tail, that natural high-frequency roll-off, but without the obvious flutter or boing of a cheap tank. Now, contrast that with a plate. A plate reverb is a thin metal sheet, usually steel suspended under tension, driven by a transducer at one point, picked up at multiple other points. The metal sheet's two-dimensional surface vibrates in a far more diffuse, even, and linear way than a one-dimensional spring does. That's why plates sound smooth, glossy, and predictable. Every input gets a similar, dense, even tail. That's the difference in one sentence. Plate gives you polish and linear decay. Spring gives you texture, attitude, and slightly unstable mechanical motion that can make a source feel more human, more haunted, more retro. The BX20 is famous because it narrowed the gap between those two worlds.